can defeat our mission in Iran is us. Is us. The goal is to defeat this enemy. What does that mean? Take out their Air Force, their Navy, their leadership, and leave? Well, that's not defeating an enemy. That's defeating their Air Force, their Navy, and their leadership. They have secret police. They have an entire army, infantry. They have all this sort of stuff that's there. And so it will regenerate if we leave the vacuum. This is not an argument for a democracy project. It's not an argument for hundreds of thousands of troops. It's not an argument for any of that. But I wrote a piece over at Fox News Digital. I think it was published a week or 10 days ago. And I said, we need to be thinking about what's going to happen once we are victorious over these elements of the Iranian regime. And I don't think we're giving it enough thought, quite frankly. Now, maybe the president is, and maybe his people are, but we, the people, and certainly the media, what's to come? Now, the prince has said, look, I'll be an interim leader for 100 days. He put out an entire plan. It's on the internet. Looks like a very good plan to me. And there are others potentially, I suppose. But if we're going to allow the price of a gallon of gasoline be determinative on what I thought was a conditions-based military operation, not a time-based military operation, we could lose. Not even lose the peace. We could lose the war after our forces withdraw from that area, which means all of this would be for naught. And I don't want it all to be for naught. I want us to be victorious. And we can be victorious. It matters, the government that's there. When we defeated Japan, which you'll remember they attacked us on December 7th, 1941, we demanded an unconditional surrender. And they sent word through emissaries to the Truman administration that they would accept the surrender, but not unconditional. And Truman said, no, unconditional. We didn't fight like this and lose all these men. And the horrors of the Japanese government for some conditional surrender. It's unconditional or nothing. And they refused. So we dropped the first atomic bomb. And they refused again. So they dropped the second atomic bomb, a completely different atomic bomb. And that was it. That's all we had, 2 atomic bombs. So they're hoping they would work. I'm not suggesting dropping nuclear missiles and so forth, but that's not my point. This enemy has no Navy, has no Air Force. Their missiles are being destroyed. It's been a fantastic, spectacular military operation and campaign. But the end goal has to be sure that it cannot regenerate. Remember how this started? The president promised the Iranian people that he would come to their rescue. And people are saying the Iranian people need to be able to rise up. There's no question about that. But their army is still heavily armed. They still have tanks. They still have armored personnel carriers. They still have the equivalent of bazookas and automatic weapons and on and on and on. I have to hope that we're arming the opposition there. I hope we are. I hope we're doing other things. I really do. But if we lose what we've done here as a result of complaints about the cost of a gallon of gasoline 7-8 months before the midterm elections, what a disaster and horror that would be. I heard somebody on TV say, we never replace a government after a victory and tell them what to do. It's a lot of ignorance. Japan is what I was pointing out. We certainly did determine what that government would look like. We wrote their constitution. We had to approve who took over. We didn't fight and lose so many men to leave it to chance. And we ought not leave this to chance, ladies and gentlemen. We must not. If the purpose of the battle, the purpose of military action was needed in the first place, and it was, they can't leave it to chance. You just can't. Again, to stress, I'm not pushing a democracy project of any kind. I'm not pushing anything other than we take the time to really figure out how we want this to be handled. And as I say, maybe the president and his people already have, and they choose not to convey it. But I hear an awful lot of pressure, endless news reports on the price of gasoline. We didn't have endless news reports on the price of gasoline when it was far more expensive than it is today as a result of climate change ideology and religion. When they were shutting down leases, shutting down drilling sites, shutting down federal lands, making it difficult, very difficult, to produce oil domestically and to refine it. We didn't have those charts popping up showing us day by day how much the price of gasoline was going up. It's almost $5 a gallon for a premium. Almost $5 a gallon. And they drove up the price of automobiles by like $4,000 or $5,000. Remember all that? The expenses were enormous. And this is temporary. It's temporary. There's plenty of oil, but the world is worried about what happens to the Straits, where 20% of the oil passes. Not 20% of our oil, but there's a world market out there. So that would be temporary, especially if the Iranian regime and its entrails were eliminated. The Straits would be wide open. I'm just cautioning you now because I heard almost a complete change in tone. It could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks to we're pretty much done. You know, we'll be out of there soon enough. And we'll see. By the way, a footnote for you folks out there. As you know, I worked for President Reagan for 8 years, and I worked for several cabinet members, including the Attorney General of the United States. We've had this discussion before. I've never written a book, an essay, a tweet. I've never said anything behind this microphone or on TV about any of the confidential discussions I had with any of those officials. Not once. In all the years I've been doing this. I am deeply troubled when people talk to the President of the United States. Either he seeks them out or they seek him out. And then they go to Politico or the newspaper pages of the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post or Axios, wherever they go. And they start talking about their discussions with the President of the United States. They want to pat themselves on the head. They want to pat other people on the head. Look at me, look at me. I find it very disloyal. And a president and cabinet secretaries, they have a right to confidentiality when they're seeking information or when somebody is providing it unsolicited. It's very troubling to me. It very much is. And so when I see names attached to that, I cringe. It's bad enough that you have anonymous leakers who are basically traitors trying to persuade the president or push the agenda in one direction or the other. That's bad enough. When you have people saying the president did this because I told him and I told him this, and you got to get him on a certain day with a certain weather in front of a certain sandwich or whatever they say. That is unacceptable to me. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Go drag your old dated wireless contract out of the closet and beat it with a broom. Then freshen things up by switching to Pure Talk, my wireless company that gives you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data, just $25 a month. With no contract, no cancellation fees, and no overseas customer service if you ever need help. I'm guessing you're going to like them as much as my listener, Paul, from Greer, South Carolina. He says, I finally listened to Mark Levin's advice and switched from Verizon. I'm getting the very same service for less than half of what I was paying Verizon. You know, I long wondered if these much lower services could provide the same level of service as the big boys. Now I know that Pure Talk certainly can. Thank you, Paul. And now it's time for you to take my advice, folks. Dial pound 250 and say Mark Levin and switch to Pure Talk. Dial pound 250, say Mark Levin, and you'll save 50% off your first month as well. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
Couple of road closures in Loudoun County due to accident activity. The eastbound lane to the Charlestown Pike, Virginia 9, closed between Clark's Gap Road and Harrybird Highway due to an accident. And the Berlin Turnpike is closed in both directions between Bullington Road and Broadway. That also due to crash activity. Now, there is an accident eastbound of the freeway before the 3rd Street Tunnel, and delays begin at the 14th Street Bridge, and delays continue eastbound all the way to the 11th Street Bridge. And there is accident activity in Prince George's County on Maryland 450, east of the BW Parkway, and in Bowie on Maryland 197, south of Racetrack Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, here's a WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Tonight, clear with a low around 61. Tomorrow, thickening clouds with afternoon showers. Record warmth again with highs around 8.
Prime one-day deliveries fast. How fast we talking? We're talking tissues and hot tea fast. Feel better meds fast. Relief your door fast, so you can actually breathe out of both nostrils fast, like I just ordered. And it's already here fast. Fast one-day delivery to feel better sooner. It's on Prime.
Need parts fast? Need them now? O'Reilly is fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly Auto Parts stand apart. Right now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts, you can get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 qualifying brake rotors. Ask the professional parts people about additional brake pad and rotor upgrade options available at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy Truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
Oh, son, I think so too. Have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You know, folks, Americans rely on credit cards for secure payments and seamless transactions. But consumers stand to lose it all with the Durbin-Marshall credit card mandate bill. Big government mandates favor corporate megastores and allow them to choose how your credit card is processed. They might end up using untested payment networks that could jeopardize your data security and rewards. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Visit guardyourcard.com to learn more. That's guardyourcard.com, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
I want you to think about something, ladies and gentlemen, and this idea is not one hatched by was hatched by somebody, at least the first time I saw it, online by the name of Max 2024. Max 2024. I don't know his real name, but it doesn't matter. I want you to listen to what he posts. I think it's safe for us to acknowledge that most of the people who consume Carlson, Kelly, Owens, Bannon, and so forth are not supporters of the president. Their audience are filled with leftists and anti-Semitic foreigners. Now, how does this person draw that conclusion? He's looking at interactive polls, one of the great polls, and they ask this question: do you approve or disapprove of the way Donald Trump is handling the situation in Iran? MAGA supporters, 91% approve, 6% disapprove. How about just people who identify as Republicans? 83% approve, 11% disapprove. And then, of course, it flips when you're talking about the Democrats. Overwhelmingly oppose what Trump has done. And, of course, the leftists even more so. And so his point is this. Carlson opposed this military campaign. Meager Kelly opposed this military campaign. Bloated Bannon opposed this military campaign. Eva Braun Owens opposed this military campaign. But 91% of you support it and support the president and the troops. And so the logical conclusion, with a mathematical certainty, is that the vast majority of the people who are watching these podcasts are not Trump supporters, are not MAGA, are not conservatives, and are not Republicans. The vast majority. This also explains why they play the hate America card. They play the hate the military card about the military raping, as Carlson said the other day. They play the anti-Jew card, the anti-Christian card, because they're playing to the left. They're playing to the Democrats, and they're playing to anti-Semites in Pakistan and places like that. That is exactly what's going on. And these elements on the left, the Islamists, the Marxists, the Democrats, and so forth, they love what Carlson's saying, what Meager Kelly's saying, what Bloated Bannon is saying, what Eva Braun Owens is saying. They love it. They love the sort of chaos they're trying to create. And so our enemies at home and abroad really make up their audience. Really make up their audience. It's a brilliant point, and the numbers bear it out. 91% of MAGA supporters support the president's handling of the situation in Iran. 6% disapprove. 83% of Republicans approve. 11% disapprove. So where are all these viewers coming from for individuals who are in the 6%? Well, they're not coming from Republicans. They're not coming from MAGA. They're not coming from conservatives. They're not coming from people who actually embrace their Christian faith and their Jewish faith and so forth and so on. They're coming from the enemy. Or they're coming from bigots and racists overseas. They're coming from Democrats and leftists. That is the audience that is enriching Carlson, Meager Kelly, Bloated Bannon, Eva Braun Owens. This is their audience. These are their people. And it also meshes up with the Democrat Party. That's wide open to the Marxists and the Islamists, wide open to foreigners coming into the country, wide open to the trash mouthing of Christianity and Jews and denying the Judeo-Christian belief system. Wide open to these people. That's who their audience is. Now, maybe it wasn't always their audience. Maybe many of you used to be in their audience, but the truth is the vast majority of their audience has to be these elements. Has to be. So we shouldn't be listening to them. The president shouldn't be, not that he is. The vice president shouldn't. The cabinet members shouldn't. Members of Congress shouldn't. Many members of Congress are cowards, and I include especially Republicans who won't call these people out. There was a wonderful event with National Review and the Republican Jewish Coalition on the issue of anti-Semitism. Many Christians spoke out, leading Christians, many politicians who are Christian, not Jews. Jews spoke out as well. I want to give a salute to Senator Cotton, to Senator Cruz, and the others who spoke out. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the Republican establishment in Washington, D.C., other than a handful, is silent. Top people in the administration, other than the president and the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State, are silent. That's not going to fly. It's certainly not going to fly with we Levinites, the millions of us. If it's too difficult to denounce people who embrace Nazism and neo-fascism, well, then you're in the wrong party. But this is a very, very important revelation that the following, significant following, that these individuals have are not red-blooded Americans, patriots. Quite the opposite. I'll be right back. Some major U.S. banks are publishing aggressive gold scenarios for 2026, some as high as about $6,300 an ounce. While nothing about the future is guaranteed, the market has already moved faster than many expected. Meanwhile, central banks have been accumulating gold, and some estimates show that gold holdings now exceeding U.S. Treasury holdings, signaling gold's long-term confidence. Monetary gold has over 25 years helping Americans understand physical gold and silver with an education first, no pressure approach and support for IRA eligible options. Monetary Gold is a complimentary guide to help you understand precious metals. Call them right now, 877-NOW-GOLD, or visit marklovesgold.com. Request the free guide. Make sure to ask for details. That's 877-NOW-GOLD, or visit marklovesgold.com. marklovesgold.com. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
WMAL, making sense of the economy because it's your money and your retirement. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free. WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. Breaking this hour, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown filed an emergency motion asking a federal court to stop construction of an ICE detention center in Hagerstown while his lawsuit challenging the project plays out. He says DHS and ICE violated the law when they approved a contract to convert the warehouse next to Semple Run Stream without the required environmental review. He says construction will cause pollution runoff into a waterway that ultimately empties into the Potomac. Last month, the Washington Board of County Commissioners approved a resolution supporting the project. The Pentagon says about 140 U.S. service members have been injured since the war in Iran started, 8 severely, and 7 soldiers were killed in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Operation Epic Fury has been a resounding success so far.
And America's warriors are winning this important fight at an even faster pace than we anticipated.
Still no word on when it will end. Traffic and weather next.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, the used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
At Verbo, we understand that even the best of plans sometimes need a little support. So we plan for the plot twists. Every booking is automatically backed by our Verbo Care Guarantee, giving you confidence from the very start. Whenever you need help, it's ready. Before your stay, through the moments in between, and after your trip. Because a great trip starts with peace of mind. And maybe a good playlist. But we've got the peace of mind part covered.
O'Reilly.
For Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines. Right now, get 5 parts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99. Plus, receive 2 times O Rewards points. Limit supply. Choose Syntec exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
No, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Wendy's has a new Girl Scout Thin Mint Frosty Fusion with Girl Scout Thin Mint's cookie pieces, rich creamy frosty, and a mint chocolate cookie sauce. Which means Girl Scout Thin Mints and Wendy's Frosty, yeah, they're basically best friends now. It's like 2 delicious desserts just high-fived. Snapped a few too many friendship selfies, and then rode a tandem bike down a never-ending road of mint chocolate frosty perfection. So, swing by Wendy's and try the new Thin Mints Frosty Fusion.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, the used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
3811. When you look online at all the people who say the most hateful things imaginable, well, I don't believe those are our people either. Some of them, no doubt, but most of them no. Most of them no. That's not who we are. That's not who we are. Liberty's Voice today is a great show. And you can check it out on Rumble and YouTube. And I actually decided to jump into Aristotle and look at a couple of words that I think are important, especially now. Words like prudence and virtue and morality, all of which Aristotle wrote about at great length. The genius of all geniuses, really. He was a student of Plato. Plato was a student of Socrates. But Aristotle was incredible, as were others. But to me, he was, in terms of ancient philosophers, truly number one. And I'm not alone. Your founding fathers felt exactly the same way. And so I went from Aristotle and focused on mostly prudence and virtue. What do they mean? Why are they important? Why are they important in your own life? I think that's relatively obvious, but why are they important in our polity, in our society, in our culture? And when decisions are made, like a president making a decision, it cannot be ideological. Hey, no forever wars. Hey, America first, when they don't even know what they're talking about. And most of the people who say that, these podcasters, they don't mean America first. They mean Fortress America, a phrase that Ronald Reagan used to denounce the isolationists. You can't have other countries arming up for war and we're isolationists. And you can't wait for nuclear missiles to be in flight before you realize there's an imminent threat. So this is irrational. This is illogical. Go back and read George Washington's farewell address. A lot of the isolationists use it to say, see that? He said no foreign entanglements. George Washington was referring to what? France and Britain, the two most powerful armies on the face of the earth. The United States was being pulled by one and the other to join ranks with one or the other. And even within his cabinet, he had individuals who were in support of one or the other. Jefferson, the French, Hamilton, the British. And the country was largely divided as well. And that's what he meant, no foreign entanglements. He didn't mean don't have any allies. And he also says in that speech, it's important to have allies. And he says in subsequent speeches that it's important to have a military that's ready to fight and that foreign adversaries and enemies be aware that we're able and ready to fight. I've studied that man backwards and forwards, as I have most of them. No president can look down the silo of a potential nuclear weapon and an enemy that says we're going to have 11 nuclear weapons in 10 days and sit on his hands. No rational president could do that. The Democrats, though, they had one that paved the way for nuclear weapons, Obama, and the other that was paying for them, Biden. You can see the Democrat Party as an institution. The way that they're trying to undermine our military and our president, much like those individuals I'm talking about, the woke right neo-fascist isolationists, they're giving aid and comfort to the enemy, which is exactly why they're quoted by the enemy. They're quoted by the enemy. And there's a reason they hate Netanyahu too, apart from a lot of the reasons we already know. Because he's an incredibly successful leader of Israel. And for the left and the Democrats, when Netanyahu, I think it was 2015, spoke to a joint meeting of Congress, and I was in the gallery watching it, denouncing the Iran deal, denouncing in his own way, as politely as he could, the Obama deal. The Democrats turned on Netanyahu and the state of Israel from that point forward and forevermore. And I strongly believe, in addition to the loathsome Jew hatred and anti-Semitism and self-hatred of Americans, anti-Americanism by these podcasters, these Kabbalists, I call them, that their audience now is made up of these people. That's their audience. You don't have millions of red-blooded Americans listening to somebody talking about our troops will rape the women and girls in Iran if there's an unconditional surrender. You don't have them talking this way. You don't have millions of Americans listening to somebody who's basically saying that Hitler was misunderstood and Churchill created and extended World War II. Millions of Americans? No. Especially conservatives? No way. No way. And so this has finally been figured out. It's actually quite logical and simple that these people are making their money, some probably from foreign governments as well, but beyond that, that their audience is made up of unpatriotic, in many cases, foreigners, Islamists, Democrats, Marxists, who love to hear the trashing of Donald Trump by people who claim to be a Trump supporter or part of MAGA. Again, many of you perhaps used to watch them, but you've dropped them, right? Well, somebody's picked up the ball, and that's who's picked up the ball. So today's podcast, and I don't want to be repetitious, so I don't do the same show on radio that I do on the podcast or on TV or whatever, and there's so much to talk about anyway. I use these platforms in different ways, but again, to draw the biggest audience as possible to radio, to the video podcast, and to the TV program, because that's what matters. To build this electoral and patriotic juggernaut. That's the goal. And so we went deep with Aristotle, we went deep on philosophy, and then I applied it to the war with Iran. Isolationism and interventionism and thisism and thatism, it's not the test. Forever wars, you hear people on TV and radio, we don't want any more forever wars. Well, what does that even mean? What it means is you don't want stupid wars. But that's not what they mean. They mean never take military action. Never, unless we're struck first. That's called suicide. Cut one, Mr. Producer, go. If the Democrats were in power, what would they do? Oh, we know what they would do. What did Obama do? He signed a deal that ensured that that regime would get a nuclear weapon, just not on his watch. So outrageous. Netanyahu came to the United States Congress. He was so concerned about it and urged the Congress to vote against it. This is one of the reasons the Democrats hate him, because he took on their deal and he took on their president, our president, Obama, and he did it publicly. And this is why they hate Netanyahu, hate him, hate him, hate him. The reason the woke right, the isolationists, the ideologues, the reason they hate Netanyahu is because he's the greatest leader Israel's ever had, and he's defended that country like nobody else could. And when we say he's the Churchill of the Middle East, if not the Churchill of our times, there's a reason for that. They hate him because he's a great leader. The reason they hate Trump, because he's a great leader. If they weren't great men and great leaders, they wouldn't hate them, because they'd be failures and they would see an opportunity for power. That's quite literally what's taking place. Quite literally what's taking place. I can't tell you how impressed I am, always was, but with our Secretary of War, Hegseth, he's been absolutely fantastic. And when we come back, I want you to hear some of the things he had to say, very important. I also want to get into back to New York in this Mondami. We talked at length yesterday, and I'm not going to repeat it, about his outrageous comments. Went to Islamo-Nazis, tried to slaughter civilians and cops with IEDs, too stupid to get them to work properly, apparently. And they checked their homes in Pennsylvania, and they found a whole lot more. And they're going on about Al-Akbar and things of that sort. They're confessing. They're very proud of themselves. But now we know the mayor had dinner with Khalil, a supporter of Hamas. You see, Mayor Mondami is not a Zudi Jasser. He's not the assistant manager of my bank, a wonderful man, a good friend, a Muslim gentleman. He's not that. He's an Islamist. That's what he is. Just like his wife. Just like his wife. Let me paint you a picture. It's midnight. Sirens are blaring. You have seconds to grab your child and run. Now imagine if you're elderly. Your legs don't work like they used to. Getting downstairs feels impossible. Imagine if you're disabled. Imagine if you're in a hospital bed. But you end up in a bomb shelter for hours, even days, because you can't make it back to your home or the hospital bed or so forth. This is what's happening all across Israel as Operation Epic Fury continues, as the Iranians just wildly fire off these ballistic missiles. This is what's happening. Children are being traumatized, families are exhausted, homes are destroyed. And still, the world attacks Israel. And still, the Kabbalists here attack Israel. Well, as people are on the ground just trying to survive. That's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, I love the way that sounds. They're there, they're on the ground. They don't produce white papers, they produce results. And they're bringing food, emergency equipment, care for children, and help for the elderly, and supplying bomb shelters and medical centers with critically needed essentials. If you can give $45 right now, and it's tax deductible, so you'll get part of a refund. $45 right now to rush life-saving essentials to the vulnerable under fire it would be a great blessing. So to rush your gift to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we'll put that immediately to use right on the ground. Call 844-866-IFCJ. That's 844-866-IFCJ, 844-866-IFCJ, or online at levinforthefellowship.org. That's LEVIN for thefellowship.org. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
There is an accident now in Quantico and northbound 95 between Virginia 619 Quantico Drive. That is exit 150 and Dumfries Road, blocking the left lane. Traffic very heavy there, and southbound is slow from Newington in towards Woodbridge. Earlier accident on Eastbound 66 between Business 234 and 29 to the right shoulder. But you'll find residual delays in the westbound side heavy from the Fairfax County Parkway towards Business 234. There is still accident activity in the district on the freeway eastbound before the 3rd Street Tunnel, and it is jammed from the 14th Street Bridge. On the inner loop off-ramp to 450, there was a brush fire there. The off-ramp was closed, but has now been reopened with traffic is still from the 95 interchange. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, here's a WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Tonight, clear with a low around 61. Tomorrow, thickening clouds with afternoon showers. Record warmth again with highs around 8.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
Well, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
O'Reilly. Choose Rain-X Rugged XL wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Their extra large profile and premium features are made for all driving conditions. Save $16 when you buy a pair of Rain-X Rugged XL wiper blades, plus get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
If your patio, sidewalk, or driveway is cracked or uneven, if you've tripped or fallen as a result, or if you're worried about the liability of an uneven surface on your property, American Concrete Services can quickly help. Don't pay the high cost to tear out and replace your sidewalk, patio, driveway, or pool deck. American Concrete Services has an economical solution which can raise and stabilize your existing concrete at a fraction of the cost of full replacement. They're environmentally friendly structural foam. With structural foam lifting, there's no heavy equipment to cause damage to your property and no loud noises from jackhammering. Best of all, most repairs can be completed in just one day. Have your entire patio, sidewalk, or driveway safe and level again. No job is too big or small. Call American Concrete Services now for your free estimate at 240-665-5665. That's 240-665-5665. Again, 240-665-5665. Licensed in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. MHIC 140530.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995.
My name is Andrea Dalzell, and I've been using a wheelchair since I was 5 years old.
I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I appreciate your help. But please, ask first.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that I've actually got everything under control.
I think people get nervous. They don't know how to act. so they pretend I'm not there.
What probably bothers me the most is when waiters talk to my companion and not directly to me.
I think everyone with a disability can relate to that parking spot problem.
We know you're just parking in that disabled spot for a second, but please, don't. We're just looking for the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
United Spinal Association is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life of people living with spinal cord injuries and disorders. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
Just to underscore this point, after we destroyed the Japanese regime in World War II, we wrote their constitution. And we installed a government that would be aligned with us. We weren't going to leave it to chance, not after all we went through, not after the grave threat that we faced. So we now must give focused thought to what comes after the Iranian regime's Navy, Air Force, and missiles have been destroyed, and their top leadership. It still has a standing army, still has secret police, has an entire Islamist supporting infrastructure. There are, no doubt, many approaches to dealing with this, short of a democracy project or hundreds of thousands of ground troops. But make no mistake, if a void is created and we don't fill it, it will be filled. It will be filled by these other forces. It will be filled by the communist Chinese and the fascistic Russians. It will be filled. And that country will be lost. And those people will be enslaved as they are now. There's simply no question about it. The isolationists, the forever war types, as well as the others, we don't want a forever war, and we don't want a World War III. After World War I, Germany and other countries that were defeated were left destitute and impoverished. In fact, the victors forced a peace agreement on them that required to allow us to remove most of their industries. Physical plant. And so Germany and the others had a massive depression. Their money was worthless. People were starving.
The conversation.
And of course, it created an environment which would eventually lead to the communists and the fascists fighting with each other for control over that country. Now, obviously, this is the shortest of short versions. It's a very complicated but compelling story, and one day I'll do it. And Germany was, prior to this, probably the most advanced country on the face of the earth, technologically, in sciences and physics, and in the arts, architecture, if not the, one of the top 2 or 3, but I think it was the most advanced. Shocking that eventually a country like that will be led by a thug, by a mass murderer. It happened, and it can happen again, which is why yours truly is so outspoken. And despite efforts to silence me, whether it's by sponsors or affiliates or audience members or so forth, and I want to thank those who stick with us here, because what I'm talking about is Americanism and the survival of our liberty. That's the bottom line, isn't it? It can happen anywhere, including in an advanced society. You see what's taking place in New York City under an Islamist mayor. You see what's taking place in other parts of our country. We now have a restaurant in San Jose where a Jewish man is barely eating his food and he's jumped by 3 guys and they beat the hell out of him. and he jumps up to try and fight back. Nobody intervenes to help him. It's videoed, and people are yelling for them to get off of him. But they attacked him because he was on his cell phone speaking Hebrew to someone. And the police, sadly enough, there seem to be relatively disinterested in this. We see what's taking place in Toronto, Canada. 3 synagogues in the period of a few days or a few hours, all were sprayed with bullets. 3 of them. 3 of them. And so much more. And so much more. This isn't just about Jews. It's about Christians. It's not just about Christians. It's about Americans. It's about we the people. Red-blooded Americans. 20 years ago, this was not going on and we would not have put up with it. 10 years ago, this was not going on and we would not have put up with it. Now it's everywhere you look, isn't it? Everywhere. I'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the new.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, the used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck C71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, the used car leader, and out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
No, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
WMAL, making sense of the markets, because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free. WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. The legal battle over plans to convert a warehouse in Hagerstown into an ICE detention center continues. Days after DHS and ICE approved a $113 million contract for the project, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown files an emergency motion asking a federal court to pause construction while a lawsuit he filed last month is being considered. In that suit, Brown argued the planned purchase and conversion of the warehouse was illegal because it didn't undergo the required environmental review. In the emergency motion, Brown says once construction of the ICE detention center starts, the environmental damage can't be undone. He says construction would likely pollute a stream adjacent to the warehouse that eventually feeds into the Potomac River. DHS said the original lawsuit isn't about the environment, but rather stopping President Trump from making America safe again. And earlier today, Brown filed a separate lawsuit against ICE and DHS over conditions at an ICE detention center in Baltimore.
Dozens of immigrants are crammed into a single cold cement room for days at a time. No bedding, no showers, one toilet.
AG Anthony Brown announcing the lawsuit just one day after a visit to the holding cell by Maryland lawmakers declaring inhumane conditions.
Detainees described the food as dog food. They were given blankets covered in feces, lice, urine, vomit.
DHS has previously disputed similar claims. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
Dozens of firefighters worked for about 2 hours today to rescue 2 construction workers trapped in dirt after a trench collapsed outside a Bethesda home. Montgomery County Fire Chief Corey Smedley says it happened just after noon.
We did have communications with them from the time we went on the scene.
The first man, stuck in dirt up to his waist, was freed around 1:10 p.m. Then around 2:10, the second man, in dirt up to his head, got out of the ditch himself.
One of the good things that happened, they did have a little shoring up, which created a void when the collapse occurred. So the person who was a little bit under, had a void that he could breathe.
Both men were flown to shock trauma with bruises and are being checked for internal injuries. President Trump says within the last few hours, the U.S., quote, completely destroyed 10 inactive mine-laying boats and/or ships with more to follow, unquote. The post minutes after where he said there were no reports of Iran putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz, but, quote, if for any reason mines were placed and they are not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before, unquote. This after CNN said anonymous sources told them mines are being put in the strait, which carries about 20% of the world's crude oil. Annapolis is trying to get a handle on its Airbnb-style rentals by imposing a 1-year ban on new rental licenses.
The city council passed a ban for licenses on units that are not occupied by owners. The 8-1 decision came after it was revealed 40% of the units advertised as short-term rentals in Annapolis are not licensed at all. There's been a spike in applications, which come with a $400 annual fee and require an annual home inspection, but those applications will not be considered for now. Airbnb-type rentals are controversial in many places, as full-time residents complain their neighborhoods are becoming more like hotels, with parking, trash, and other problems. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Traffic and weather next.
Prime one-day delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking yoga mats and fitness trackers delivered so fast you can kick off your routine tomorrow fast. We're talking weights at your door without really waiting fast. Water bottles and hydration backpacks fast and fast. Resistance bands faster than you can say feel the burn fast. More jump ropes just a hop, skip, and a jump away, aka fast. Whew. That was actually a good workout fast. Fast one-day delivery for all things fitness. It's on Prime.
Finally, car shopping made for you. Meet Car Gurus Discover, a new search feature where you can look for vehicles using your own words. Whether you want great gas mileage or extra trunk space, simply type it in, and Car Gurus Discover will give you real shoppable listings that match. It's no wonder Car Gurus is the #1 visited car shopping site, according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On the outer loop of the Beltway in Fairfax at 66, 2 left lanes are blocked with a crash and traffic is jammed from 123. Also still slow on the outer loop of the Beltway. From Van Dorn Street to the Wilson Bridge and the inner loop still heavy from 123 to the Spur and from Old Georgetown Road to New Hampshire Avenue. Now there is still an accident right now in Clark's Gap in Loudoun County that has the eastbound Charlestown Pike closed between Clark's Gap Road and Harrybird Highway, but the earlier crash on the Berlin Turnpike between Broadway and Bullington Road now completely cleared from the roadway. Still a crash on northbound 95 between Quantico Triangle and Dumfries Road in the left lane, delays there. And in Centerville, there is a disabled vehicle on westbound 66 at 28 in the left center lane. Now from GarageDroidCare.com, here's a WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Tonight, 60 and mainly clear, 50s out in the suburbs. Tomorrow, maybe some showers around in the afternoon, high 80. Once again, near a record high. A better chance of rain on Thursday, 57. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic on WMAL.
Right now, 82 in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
In steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number is 877-381-3811, 877-3811. We want you to follow us on Liberty's Voice over at Rumble and join us over YouTube. I know you're going to have a good time. Today's show is really unique. I think you'll see how unique it is if you give it a shot. Liberty's Voice at Rumble, which has been great, really great to us, and YouTube. So Pete Hegseth had a press conference this morning, laying out what's taking place, very important.
Cut 2, Mr. Producer, go.
The mullahs are desperate and scrambling. Like the terrorist cowards they are, they fire missiles from schools and hospitals, deliberately targeting innocents because they know their military is being systematically.
And by the way, this is what the Israelis have had to put up with over and over and over again with the Palestinians, the Hamas Palestinians in Gaza, over and over and over again, and the whole world and their propaganda operation, including in our country, turned on them. And we'll see how long it takes until they turn on us, that is the media. They're starting to, with respect to this. You even have some conservatives saying, we need to know about that missile that hit that school. Was it us or was it the enemy? Well, first of all, it was us. It was a horrible mistake. If it's the enemy, it's intentional. So, I mean, there is a clear moral divide, is there not? Just some of these people need to preen. They need to be dramatic. They need to create a scenario where they're viewed as independent and, and so forth. I just don't operate that way. If something's right or something's wrong, that's the way it is. If something's an accident and something's intentional, there's a moral distinction. We don't target schools. The enemy does, whether they're the Palestinians or whether the Iranian regime. That's what they do. Go ahead.
Iran's neighbors, and in some cases, former allies in the Gulf, they've abandoned them. And their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas, either broken, ineffective, or on the sidelines.
Or in the case of Hezbollah, under attack by the Israelis, who are brutally attacking them now because they were firing missiles into Israel, trying to help out their Iranian masters. Go ahead.
And they are badly losing.
Mm-hmm. Cut 3, go.
On day 10 of Operation Epic Fury, we are winning with an overwhelming and unrelenting focus on our objectives, which are the same as the day I gave my first briefing here on Operation Epic Fury. They're straightforward, and we are executing them with ruthless precision. 1, destroy their missile stockpiles, their missile launchers, and their defense industrial base, missiles and their ability to make them. 2, destroy their navy. And 3, permanently deny Iran nuclear weapons forever. It's a laser-focused, maximum authority mission delivered with overwhelming and unrelenting precision. No hesitation, no half measures. As President Trump declared yesterday, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. But we do so on our timeline and at our choosing.
Then General Kane, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, also at the press conference this morning. Cut 4, go.
Since her last update, CENTCOM continues to make progress across the southern flank. To date, they've struck more than 5,000 targets. U.S. Strategic Command bombers recently dropped dozens of 2,000-pound GPS penetrating weapons on deeply buried missile launchers across the southern flank. We also have struck several one-way drone factories to get at the heart of their autonomous capability. And of course, alongside our regional partners along the southern flank, continue to execute intercepts against one-way attack drones using fighters and attack helicopters. Our strikes mean we've made significant progress in reducing the number of missile and drone attacks out of Iran. Ballistic missile attacks continue to trend downward, 90% from where they've started, and one-way attack drones have decreased 83% since the beginning of the operation. A testament to our air defenders and our air defense systems, and as I said, our partners in the region continue to do great work as well.
Mm-hmm. Partners being the Israelis. And then let's move to Mr. Producer, cut 6. Nancy Cortez, CBS. Let's see what question she had at a press conference today. Cut 6, go.
The president said yesterday for the first time that he had to strike Iran because he believes that Iran was going to strike U.S. targets within 7 days. And then he then bumped that down later to 3 days. Where is he getting that?
Well, that's not the first time the president has said that he chose to launch Operation Epic Fury because he felt as though Iran was going to strike the United States and our assets in the region first.
But there are no U.S. leaders or Israeli leaders who are making those same claims. So
Excuse me. This is why I get fed up. We interviewed Steve Witkoff. We had the first long-form interview of Witkoff of anybody. And he explained this at great length. We took that interview. We removed the commercials. We put it online. A handful of news services, really good ones, ran with it. Not a single network did. They pretended it didn't exist. And Witkoff explained then that the negotiators for the Iranian regime said to them, he and Kushner, that in 10 days, we will have 11 nuclear warheads. We have 22,000 pounds of nuclear material. We're not giving up any of it. We're not turning over any of it to you. We're not giving to you at the negotiation table what you couldn't get in your bombing mission in June. We're not giving it to a third party. And they weren't giving anything, and they weren't agreeing to anything. And they said they would have 11 of these bombs within 10 days. Now, I don't know what's wrong with reporters, the Democrats, even people on our side. That's what was said on the record by Witkoff to me, to millions of you listening on the radio. We recorded it. We made it available. It seemed awfully newsworthy to us and to you. So we know why the president made this decision. Because the enemy confessed at what they had. And so the president has to make a determination right there and then. And this is why I went into the whole thing today on the video podcast on Liberty's Voice about Aristotle and prudence and wisdom and making decisions and how you make decisions. It's not ideological. It's more philosophical and principled and all that, which I think you'll find interesting. But nonetheless, the president is in charge. He's the commander in chief. He knows what this regime is. He knows its ideology. He knows what it's done in the past. And he had to make a decision. Now, it seems to me any president who cares about his own country wouldn't wait with that information. And he acted. So why do we get these dumb questions? Truly dumb questions. And then we have the Elizabeth Warrens, the Richard Bloombergs, the other morons. They come out of these briefings and they say, I have our questions and answers. What's the mission? Well, we know what the mission is. It's obvious. And the military that's carrying out the mission, they know what the mission is. The Democrats play rope-a-dope. They're doing everything they can to sabotage this mission. I told you they have their own mission. It's called Operation Sabotage. Whether it's to turn the War Powers Act into a pretzel and use it to obstruct what's taking place, whether it's defunding the Coast Guard, defunding TSA, their war on ICE, trying to defund ICE so they can't protect us from terrorists. The Democrat Party is a kamikaze party, anything for power. And let me be clear about this, really clear about this. And Eric Erickson pointed this out too, but I have myself. The Democrat Party has commercials ready. Commercials ready. That if something happens to our country as a result of them defunding our protection, as a result of them defunding the blue wall, whether it's the Coast Guard, the TSA, ICE, or whatever it is. And they've already said it's Trump's fault, it's the Republicans' fault. They won't agree to what we want. Meanwhile, the Republicans keep voting to fund, and the Democrats keep voting against funding. They will use that. They will use any harm that comes to this country, any harm that comes to our fellow citizens. as a justification for running commercials, trashing Trump, trashing the Republicans in their home, paving the way to victory in the midterm elections. That's their plan. That's their goal. It's not the well-being of our military or the success of our military. It's the opposite. It's not the well-being of the people, you, me. It's the opposite. And the same goes with the Carlsons and the Kellys and the Bannons and the rest of them who want to be proven right because their audience is made up of the same people who support the Democrats and the enemy. 91% of MAGA supports the president handling of Iran. 83% of all Republicans. Same thing. But the opposite is true of the Democrats. The opposite is true of the Marxists and the Islamists. And the opposite is true 100% of the woke right, neo-fascist isolationists. They seize on every opportunity to undermine our country, our president, our military, and you, Mr. and Mrs. America. That's the plan of the Democrat Party. That's the plan. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the new.
Prime One Day delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking game night delivered by tomorrow night fast. So we can win fast. Cards fast, puzzles fast, team games at your door on a date fast. Doesn't matter what the game is, we will dominate fast. We're talking game over, you win fast. Fast One Day delivery for the win. It's on Prime.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
Well, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm about to drop a huge secret. JCPenney is it for spring fashion. Spring everything, really. You go there looking for deals on the obvious. New spring towels and tees. You leave with those towels. They're legendary, honestly. And some new tees and shorts. But you also get designer fragrance, a trendy white dress, the cutest matching gym set, and that ice cream maker that's all over the feed. You know the one. So many deals. Exactly what you are and aren't looking for. Yes, JCPenney.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
Imagine having complete clarity about your health, not just test results, but a clear plan built around you. Today, body scans and lab tests are easy to access, but true peace of mind comes from understanding what they mean and what to do next.
At Princeton Longevity Center, we go beyond testing to deliver clarity, strategy, and physician-led care designed to help protect and extend your life.
Our patients work directly with board-certified physicians specializing in preventive and longevity medicine, not algorithms, not generic reports.
But real doctors who understand your history, your risks, and your goals.
Yes, we use advanced imaging and comprehensive diagnostics.
But
What truly matters is what comes next.
We interpret the results
Connect the dots and deliver a physician-led, personalized plan you can act on with confidence.
because information alone doesn't change outcomes.
Insight does.
At Princeton Longevity Center, your care doesn't end with a test.
It begins there.
Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com. That's 888-8000-PLC.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
Well, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with everything you're saying.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
My heart just breaks for what's going on.
Making sense of the news.
In the corner of my eye, I saw you in
Now, Rand Paul is an extreme libertarian, isolationist, like his father was and is. These are not constitutional conservatives. They are what they are. The woke Reich, R-E-I-C-H, they're all predicting that we're going to get whacked in the midterm elections. And they might be right. You know why? Because of them. And so they're trying to put out propaganda to cover their asses. They don't intend to unite around anybody. Not Trump, not the Republican Party, not the conservative movement. No, they're out on their own. These are true unhinged whack jobs, psychopaths. And this is their goal. Because remember who their real audience is. Their real audience is the Marxists, the Islamists, the Democrats, the anti-Semites overseas, the Christian bashers. That's their audience. Because the opposite of that, those who believe in the Constitution and individual liberty, those who believe in the Judeo-Christian belief system and values, those who believe that, yes, sometimes you need to take preemptive steps like George Washington warned in order to protect your country, which should be obvious by now, given all the military operations we've been through, that's really America first. That's peace through strength, as explained by Reagan and Trump. But they're going to want you to believe that if we only listen to them, if you only hate the Jews and hate the Christians, and if you only embraced Islam, and if you only destroyed the Republican Party, if you only listen to them, then we'd be in the majority. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's what you have to believe. That's political suicide. Absolute political suicide. So we get this really a useless senator, this Rand Paul, on Fox Business today. You recall when Trump took out Soleimani? He objected to that. He went on TV and said that was outrageous. We shouldn't do that either. There's some people you just have to write off, America, and dismiss as too damn crazy to take seriously. But the guy's a senator. It's like, don't you believe in free speech? Why don't you debate this guy and debate this guy and debate this guy? You debate a lot of guys who are unknown, but some who are known, some who are doing the dirty work of the enemy. Why would you debate them? You want to defeat them. What's the debate? If you're Catholic, should I debate the right of your faith to exist? The legitimacy of your faith? If you're a Protestant, should I debate the right of your faith to exist and the history of your faith and insist that it doesn't exist? I mean, it makes no sense. That's not a debate. And look what this guy tried to do to Huckabee. cutting and slicing the interview, asking the weirdest damn questions imaginable. It didn't change anybody's mind. The sane people were behind Huckabee. The insane were behind Tarleton. So here's Rand Paul, cut 8, go.
One reason is that we want to free the Iranian people from oppression. I have a great deal of sympathy. I want people to be free around the world. But if our foreign policy is to free oppressed people, I'm not sure where war would end. I mean, there are many people that are said to be oppressed in China, Tibet, the Uyghurs.
You know, the sad thing is he didn't read my book, Liberty and Tyranny, and I have a whole chapter on this. The fact is, the president has said, it's interesting he puts it this way. But we're not going to war with China to free the Uyghurs or the Tibetans, are we? No, we're not. We're not going to war with Russia to free the Chechens, are we? No, we're not. We're not going to war with North Korea to free the North Koreans, are we? No, we're not. And so as a rational human being, you understand that we can't do that. Number one, it wouldn't work. Number two, we'd cease to exist. We don't have the resources to do it. The American people don't want to do it. So we got all that. So he has a straw man here. On the other hand, we're talking about Iran, a country that wants to blow us off the face of the earth, a country that keeps trying to build nuclear weapons, a country that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner have told us we're within 10 days of having 11 nuclear warheads because that's what they were told. 22,000 pounds of nuclear material. A country that regime that's been attacking us for half a century and killing Americans? Ukraine's not doing that. No other country on the face of the earth is doing that. The Islamic regime in Tehran is doing that. They're weaker than they've ever been. And so Rand Paul's caught up in his ideology. It's not prudential. It's not virtuous. It's propaganda. He's an isolationist no matter what the threat. That's why he'll never be president of the United States. That's why he votes with the Democrats 90% of the time when it comes to foreign policy. That's why at one point it was either he or his father said we ought to cut defense by 25%. Well, the Chinese are building up for a world war. Is that peace through strength? No. It's appeasement. It's pacifism. It's isolationism, which will get us killed. I'll be right back.
A Social Security update. 70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits today, and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael Allen says it's true and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report from Newsmax. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits. Whether you're getting benefits or soon will, you need this Social Security report from Newsmax. Get it free. Call 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. We'll text it to you right away, along with President Trump's act cutting your Social Security taxes. Call now, 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. Text and data rates may apply.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
In Riverdale, the BW Parkway northbound is stop and go from 410 to the Beltway. On the Beltway in Montgomery County, interloop is slow from 270 to George Avenue. Interloop of the Beltway McLean jammed up between the Dulles Toll Road and Seven Locks Road. Also, on the outer loop of the Beltway in Towson, there is a crash. 2 lanes are blocked at Leesburg Pike, very slow from 123. And the outer loop of the Beltway in Springfield, that's jammed up between the Springfield Interchange and Route 1. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Tonight, clear with a low around 61. Tomorrow, thickening clouds with afternoon showers. Record warmth again with highs around.
The pediatric team at Community Health Center of the North Country understands your kids are the most important things in your life.
and each one of them is unique in their own way. This means care needs to be personalized for each son or daughter you bring through the doors at our Ogdensburg Health Center. Dr. Sunny Patel and Dr. Tiffany Hecht accepting new patients now and providing that personalized pediatric care for every stage of your child's life. Visit chcnorthcountry.org for more information.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
What does your welcome home look like? Is it a cozy corner or a wagging tail? The sound of kids playing in the yard or a friendly wave from the new neighbor? However you define it, let AmeriQ Credit Union help you make it happen. For more than 75 years, AmeriQ has helped your friends and neighbors finance the homes of their dreams. After all, there's no place like home. Let us help you finance yours. Apply today at ameriq.org/home. Membership eligibility is required. Insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
Oh, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with you 100%.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
There's a lot of us out there
making sense of the news.
Mark Levin on the front line of liberty. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
Time for a little spring cleaning. I know right where to start. Drag out your old dated wireless contract out of the closet and beat it with a broom. Then freshen things up by switching to Pure Talk, my wireless company. And they give you unlimited talk, text, plenty of data, just $25 a month with no contract, no cancellation fees, no overseas customer service fees if you ever need their help. Maybe you'll like them as much as my listener Paul from Greer, South Carolina. Here's what he said. He said, I finally listened to Mark Levin's advice and switched from Verizon. I'm getting the very same service for less than half of what I was paying Verizon. I long wondered if these much lower prices would provide the same level of service as the big boys. Now I know that Pure Talk certainly can. Thank you, Paul. Now it's time for you folks. Please take my advice. Dial pound 250, say Mark Levin, switch to Pure Talk. It's that simple. It's easy. It's quick. Dial pound 250, say Mark Levin, and you'll save 50% in addition off your first month. Keep your phone number. It's a lot of great aspects to this that they can discuss with you on the phone. And you'll have fantastic service and a much lower bill. Isn't that what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen? Pure Talk, America's wireless company. Again, I encourage you right now. Dial pound 250 and say Mark Levin and get started. Stop burning your money. Keep it rather than giving it to the big guys where you're a faceless, nameless number. You ever call their customer service, Mr. Producer? It's like you want to bang your head against the wall. Like a liberal. Caroline Levitt at the White House press briefing today. But before we get to her, this Save America Act. The Democrats are going to fight this tooth and nail because they don't want people to be required to prove their citizenship, even in the most modest way, with a picture, a photograph ID. Republicans support it, Democrats support it, people of all races and faiths support it. And the media don't support it. The media regurgitate whatever the Democrats tell them to regurgitate, and vice versa. They want you to believe it's anti-black. Jim Crow 2.0. Now, number one, Jim Crow 1.0, that's all Democrat all the time. But how is it Jim Crow? It applies to everybody equally. Everybody equally. And everybody knows you need an ID for 1,000 different things, including government programs and hotels and rental cars and beer and cigarettes. Some of you have legalized pot. Whatever it is, you need an ID. You want to get on an airplane, you need an ID. Even you want to get on a train, you need an ID. You want to get into certain nightclubs, you need an ID. You want to get into the DNC, you need an ID. You want to get into the Democrat National Convention, you need an ID. You want to volunteer to shovel snow in Manhattan or the rest of New York City, you need an ID. It's a long list of things you need an ID for. But they're too hard to get. Now listen to how racist this is. This discriminates against black people. That's what they mean about Jim Crow 2.0. Because according to Chuck Schumer, one of the whitest people you'll ever see, black people don't know how to get an ID. Black people don't know how to get driver's license. Now, isn't that racist? Not only that, they say married women. You married women out there, you're going to be discriminated against. You'll have trouble getting an ID. How many married women out there have trouble getting an ID? I mean, are we supposed to pretend we're stupid in order to believe Chuck Schumer and the Democrats? Jim Crow 2.0? Now, conversely, let me ask you this. If you don't have an ID with a picture on it, how do we know you are who you say you are? How do we know? You got 11 states, 10 that are Democrat, 1 that's teetering, where they don't have any ID. So how do you know if it's the person who says they are? You don't. How do you know they're not voting twice, once in one precinct, once in another? You don't. How do you know if they're not using somebody else's name? You don't. There's no ID, and it's illegal to ask for one. And those states have an impact on federal elections. Now, everybody with 2 brain cells to rub knows why the Democrats don't want an ID. Because they're counting on fraud. Why do Democrats insist that ICE may not operate near a voting place? I mean, isn't that where you want them? To make sure illegal aliens aren't voting? Or to discourage illegal aliens from voting? Why would that be one of the so-called reform measures that they've thrown down and said, TSA doesn't get paid, the Coast Guard doesn't get paid, the Secret Service doesn't get paid, FEMA doesn't get paid, unless, among other things, you prevent ICE from going to voting places to get illegal aliens. I am telling you, they're like the mob. They're relying on illegal aliens to muscle up the number of congressional districts and electoral college votes. They're relying on birthright citizenship to keep producing Democrats. They're relying on ICE having to stand down at voting places, at precincts, of all places. I mean, doesn't that reveal everything? And they insist no government-issued photograph IDs at the voting place. They're government-issued. What if people can't afford it? Who can't afford it? But you know what's in the bill? Subsidies, 1,000 different ways to help somebody get an ID. 30 years ago, this wasn't controversial, but we have a new Democrat Party. They want Islamists, they want Marxists, they want illegal aliens. They don't want to enforce our immigration laws. They want you to think that having an identification that you're a citizen is like Jim, it's like when the Democrats called people Nazis and Hitler because they disagree with them. If you're a black person and any of your family was involved in the awful discrimination that took place, if they go back to the period of slavery, you should be really pissed off right about now that a guy like Chuck Schumer and his party are insisting to use you and your experiences as a defense for voter fraud. If somebody votes twice, they are, neutralizing your vote. If somebody votes who's not supposed to be voting, they're neutralizing your vote. If somebody votes multiple times, they're neutralizing your vote. Black, white, brown, yellow, green, red, it doesn't matter. Chuck Schumer is the equivalent of a modern-day George Wallace. Hello, he is. Because what he's saying is everybody should vote, even if you don't have a right to vote, which means your vote can be canceled out by somebody's vote who's not supposed to be voting, or voting twice, or voting for dead people, or whatever the issue is. And Chuck Schumer doesn't want to know. He just knows that his party benefits from this. You know damn well if Republicans benefited from this, Chuck Schumer would be all over it. That's all he cares about, power. The power of his party. That's all he gives a damn about, ever. Same with Sanders. Same with all of them. Here's Caroline Levitt with some moron reporter. Cut 14, go.
One of the biggest things the Democrats are saying, the claims that they're making, is that the Save America Act, it would prevent married women from voting in elections or make it harder for them. What do you have to say to those claims? Is there any validity to them, and where do you think they're getting this from?
There is zero validity to these claims, and I'm glad that you brought them up, because you have the Democrats who have created this myth, and it has been perpetuated, unfortunately, by many in the mainstream media. Let me be very clear. The Save America Act does not prohibit anyone from voting, with the exception of illegal aliens. And the greatest way to disenfranchise American citizens from voting in American elections is to allow illegal aliens to vote, which is what Democrats want to do. We see it taking place in Democrat jurisdictions at the state and local level across this country. So the Save America Act corrects that. And as far as married women who have changed their name, if they're already registered to vote, they're entirely unaffected by the SAVE Act. And for the small fraction of individuals who have changed their name or their address, they can still register to vote, of course. They just have to go through their state processes to update that documentation. And this is something that the American people, married women, and minorities, and people all across this country who Democrats are insultingly saying cannot do this, they're already doing it every day, going to the Social Security office, going to the DMV. And I think it's frankly insulting that the Democrats are saying that there are certain groups of people in this country who aren't smart enough to update their documentation to allow them to vote. Again, this is a huge myth.
They're literally sitting around, the Democrats, coming up with straw man arguments that are racist and misogynist, that are stereotypical. And they're going to use Jim Crow, where American citizens who are black were prevented from voting, and compare that to, we just need a voter ID, a picture ID for you to vote. And by the way, we don't care what race you are, what sex you are, but what religion you are, everybody has to show it. Has absolutely nothing to do with poll taxes and literacy tests and other forms of obstructing black people from voting. We know from the polls, black people want honest voting too. When you go to vote, you want to know that the process has integrity. And the Democrats are saying that, ladies and gentlemen, we've never done this before in our history. This is all new. We used to have paper ballots. You want an absentee vote. You had to demonstrate why you couldn't show up. Maybe you were sick. Maybe you were out of town. Maybe you were disabled. Something like that. But you couldn't just say, I want an absentee ballot. I'm going to mail it in. It didn't work that way. And you had to sign under penalty of perjury that you met one of the one of the requirements. Other than that, you show up in person. Why? Because they needed to know who you were, and you had to prove that you were who you were. Now it's controversial with the Democrats who are trying to create controversy around it. There's nothing controversial about it. Cut 15, Chucky Schmucky Schumer, go.
This is a bill that destroys the country, and it is not about showing ID.
This is a bill that destroys the country? This is why he's so thoroughly despised. This is a bill that destroys the country. Almost every democracy in the world has a requirement that you have to show who you are. And we used to do it all over the country. And then the Democrats decided they didn't want to do it. Oh, gee, willikers, I wonder why. And now the president is saying, this is enough. Somebody has to put their foot down. You have to be an American citizen in order to vote. Wow, that's like racism in the 1950s and 60s. What? You idiot? What? So you have these white leftist Democrats who are power hungry, and the black community, 76% says, no, we think that's a good idea. The Latino community, 83% says, no, we think that's a good idea. The white community, I think it's 86, 88%. No, we think that's a good idea too. Democrats, yeah, we think that's a good idea. Republicans, yeah, we think that's a good idea. Independents, yeah, we think it's a good idea. The only ones who don't want it are the elected Democrats. They know something we don't know, don't they? Except we do know. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
The pediatric team at Community Health Center of the North Country understands your kids are the most important things in your life, and each one of them is unique in their own way. This means care needs to be personalized for each son or daughter you bring through the doors at our Ogdensburg Health Center. Dr. Sunny Patel and Dr. Tiffany Act accepting new patients now and providing that personalized pediatric care for every stage of your child's life. Visit chcnorthcountry.org for more information.
Hey, Dad, I've been saving up, and I think I'm ready to buy my own car.
No, son, I think so too. Now, have you thought about how you're going to finance it?
Not really. I really like banking with Northern Credit Union. They offer loans, right?
Well, of course they do. Your mom and I have banked with Northern Credit Union for a long time and have gone through them for a lot of things, like our home improvement loan for the deck we put on last summer. You should really stop in and see them before you shop around.
Yeah, but look, you can apply for a loan right in your Northern Credit Union mobile banking app.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient. I knew anyone could apply for a loan at mynorthern.com. Looks like they're making it even easier now.
Apply for your next loan with Northern Credit Union online or in mobile banking. Not a member? Not a problem. Apply for your loan on our website at mynorthern.com. New car, used car, first car, home loan, personal loan, we've got you covered. Visit mynorthern.com to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. True Vitality Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
True Vitality Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at True Vitality Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 703-637-1222. 703-637-1222. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 703-637-1222.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck Z71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
Than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is legal tax defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about legal tax defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-354-6062. 800-354-6062. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-354-6062.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for what you do.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
You give me hope.
Making sense of the news.
You're all I need to get by. 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 As long as I got you, baby, you know that you got me.
Just a minute. We can do it. We can sing and talk later. Just a little. And we'll jump right back in, I promise.
Sweet morning dew, one look at you, and it was plain to see that you were my destiny. With my arms open wide, I threw away my pride. Sacrifice for you, dedicate my life to you.
Everybody,
I will go where you lead. I'll be right there in a time I need. And when I lose my way, be right there. No looking back. No that's enough. You're what I need. Baby, to get by.
My beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't you like this song? How can you not? Come on, everybody, get in.
Like an eagle takes his nest, but you all do my best. Stand by you like a tree, and anybody that tried will be. Darling, you have found strength where I was torn down. Don't know what's in store, but the camera can open any door. Just to do what's good for you. I'll inspire you a little bit higher. I know you can make a woman. I'll be so lucky to have you. We got the right
Oh, we'll wind it down. I'm sure some PDs are getting upset. Don't get upset. You conservatives like the boogie too, you know. History is unfolding right before our eyes. The President of the United States is really one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. But no president on his own can carry the whole country on his shoulders. He's relying on us, we the people. This is a government, a representative government, the consent of the government. There's a lot more work to be done. We just went through what the Democrats are up to. And if you join AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, they're focused on the same thing we are. And unlike other senior organizations, it's built around the values we hold dear. The members receive trusted news, the outstanding AMAC magazine, money-saving discounts on travel and insurance, and much more. Right now, you can join for 5 years for just $47, a fitting way to be part of an organization and support your values. Go to amac.us/Levin, amac.us/LEVIN. Hello. Go to amac.us/LEVIN. Join the Association of Mature American Citizens right now. You'll be glad you did. Part of the solution. It was a remarkable event with National Review and the Republican Jewish Coalition, and you don't have to be Jewish to appreciate it. And I want to play a little bit of information, statements by Senator Tom Cotton, Senator Ted Cruz, perhaps others if we have time. We also have a great guest coming up. And folks, don't forget to check out Liberty Voice, my new video podcast at Rumble and YouTube. Jump in, both feet. I'll be right back.
WMAL, making sense of the markets, because generational wealth doesn't build itself. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
What does your welcome home look like? Is it a cozy corner or a wagging tail? The sound of kids playing in the yard or a friendly wave from the new neighbor? However you define it, let AmeriQ Credit Union help you make it happen. For more than 75 years, AmeriQ has helped your friends and neighbors finance the homes of their dreams. After all, there's no place like home. Let us help you finance yours. Apply today at ameriq.org/home. Membership eligibility is required, insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
It's truck and SUV season at Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck C71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Widget Auto Sales, a used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at widgetautosales.com.
The winter models don't miss in the DMV. Snow, sleet, and ice are here to stay. It's Vince. Do you need a new roof? Trust Valor, where they believe a roof is not just protection, it's peace of mind. That's why right now, Valor is offering 50% off materials, plus no interest until 2027, making it easier than ever to protect what matters most. And great news, Valor is now expanding with a brand new Northern Virginia office, delivering even faster, trusted service. But what truly defines Valor is Operation Raise the Roof, giving back to those who serve. Recently, Valor provided a brand new roof for Air Force veteran Sergeant Mason Menke, ending years of stress and worry for his family and friends. If you need a new roof, honor, respect, and trust your home to Valor. Tell them Vince sent you. Call 833-83-VALOR or visit valorhome.com.
Trust your home to Valor.
Supporting our veterans.
833-83-VALOR.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9.
Israel's phenomenal air defense, 4 layers of the Arrow 2 and 3, the David Sling, as well as the Iron Dome.
Over 120 countries signed an international treaty banning the use of cluster bombs, but the U.S., Israel, and Iran are not part of that treaty. Earlier on Truth Social, President Trump wrote that Iran needs to remove any mines that may be in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command says it's taken out 16 mine-laying vessels in the strait. Authorities in Switzerland say 6 people have been killed, 3 hospitalized with severe injuries after a bus caught fire in a town west of the capital of Bern. A police spokesman says an unspecified voluntary act could be the cause of the fire. Canadian officials boosting security at diplomatic buildings after the U.S. consulate in Toronto was hit by gunfire early this morning.
Toronto police say 2 people got out of a white Honda CR-V SUV, firing multiple shots at the U.S. consulate building in the city's downtown before fleeing. No one was injured.
We have increased security around embassies and consulate buildings here in Toronto and in the Ottawa region.
Royal Canadian Mounted Police Chief Superintendent Chris Leather. The shooting comes amid the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran and after 2 Toronto area synagogues were recently hit by gunfire.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin, a Florida woman accused of firing shots at Rihanna's Los Angeles home Sunday, has been charged with 1 count of attempted murder and other felonies. Ivana Lizette Ortiz has also been charged with 10 counts of assault on a person with a semi-automatic weapon. America's listening to Fox News.
WMAL News Time is 8:02. I'm Jason Nathanson. As the U.S. military pledges its most intense hit of bombing in Iran, gas prices continue to rise, according to AAA.
We are certainly seeing higher gas prices. The national average yesterday was $3.47 a gallon. Today it's $3.53.
Regina Ali with AAA noting as the war continues.
We can't control that. We can't control the global fuel market, but we can control how efficiently we use every gallon of gasoline in our car, adjust our driving behaviors,
and take advantage of gas price loyalty rewards. Barbara Britt, WMAL and WMAL.com.
As the partial government shutdown and TSA logjam continue to frustrate travelers, the impacts aren't just current.
There's a solution. They're sitting on Capitol Hill. Pay the TSA agents. Make sure the air traffic system is working functionally for the American public.
President and CEO of Airlines for America, Chris Sununu, with WMAL's O'Connor and Company. The blame is on Congress, the whole of it, especially with an eye on the future.
Given that these shutdowns are getting more and more frequent, we're just disincentivized. We're trying to make a lot of technology investment, but we're disincentivizing actual people from entering the field.
For now, is advice to travelers?
I would assume every day could be a problem. I'll say this, most airports have really good websites.
So base your travel times into those TSA delays. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Annapolis trying to get a handle on its Airbnb-style rentals by imposing a 1-year ban on new rental licenses.
The city council passed a ban for licenses on units that are not occupied by owners. The 8-1 decision came after it was revealed 40% of the units advertised as short-term rentals in Annapolis are not licensed at all. There's been a spike in applications, which come with a $400 annual fee and require an annual home inspection, but those applications will not be considered for now. Airbnb-type rentals are controversial in many places, as full-time residents complain their neighborhoods are becoming more like hotels, with parking, trash, and other problems. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
WMAL News Time is 8:04. Now traffic and weather from the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On DC 295, the Anacostia Freeway, the northbound side is stop and go from the 11th Street Bridge to East Capitol Street. 395 northbound jammed up from Boundary Channel Drive to 9th Street Tunnel. On the BW Parkway in Greenbelt, slow from NASA Goddard to Powder Mill. In Montgomery County, in the loop of the Beltway, stop and go in Bethesda between Old Georgetown Road and Connecticut Avenue. And the inner loop of the Beltway in McLean, that's jammed up between the Dulles Toll Road and the Claire Martin Parkway. And now from GarageDoorRepair.com to WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Tonight, clear with a low around 61. Tomorrow, thickening clouds with afternoon showers. Record warmth again with highs around.
Prime one-day delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking game night delivered by tomorrow night fast. So we can win fast. Cards fast, puzzles fast, team games at your door in a day fast. Doesn't matter what the game is, we will dominate fast. We're talking game over, you win fast. Fast one-day delivery for the win. It's on Prime.
Finally, car shopping made for you. Meet Car Gurus Discover, a new search feature where you can look for vehicles using your own words. Whether you want great gas mileage or extra trunk space, simply type it in, and Car Gurus Discover will give you real shoppable listings that match. It's no wonder Car Gurus is the #1 visited car shopping site, according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
It's Vince for Valor Roofing. This winter, don't wait for a leak to force your hand. If you've noticed water spots, damaged shingles, or granulars in the gutters, call Valor Roofing now. I've seen their work in person, and trust me, Valor is the best. This week only, save huge on your new Valor roof with 50% off materials and no interest until 2027. Plus, tell them Vince sent you for extra WMAL listener savings. Call Valor at 833-83-VALOR or ValorHome.com.
What does your welcome home look like? Is it a cozy corner or a wagging tail? The sound of kids playing in the yard or a friendly wave from the new neighbor? However you define it, let AmeriQ Credit Union help you make it happen. For more than 75 years, AmeriQ has helped your friends and neighbors finance the homes of their dreams. After all, there's no place like home. Let us help you finance yours. Apply today at ameriq.org/home. Membership eligibility is required. Insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
Or complain behind the scenes, whisper campaign. But that's not Cruz. He's a very, very solid patriot, just like Tom Cotton, and I'll get to him in a moment. But Senator Cruz has been out there. He's been doing a public service to the entire nation. He's not Jewish, obviously, but it doesn't matter. He is Christian, just like Huckabee, just like Cotton, just like so many other righteous Gentiles who've had enough. And they know the relationship between Judaism and Christianity. And Ted Cruz has been out there fighting like hell. And he was at this event that I was talking about, this anti-Semitism event. And I want to salute National Review and our friends at RJC. No, I wasn't invited. People know where I stand, and I have a microphone right now. I'm talking about it right now. Cut 11, go.
At the very beginning of National Review, Buckley had a moment where he said no to the anti-Semites. They're not welcome in our party, and that changed the course of history for decades. We are at a moment that, if anything, is more consequential now. And I will tell you, there are costs to this. So virtually every single one of my colleagues in the Senate on the Republican side agrees with me and has said, you're absolutely right. Thank you for taking this on. And yet almost none of them will say Tucker's name. Because there is a cost. I could tweet this morning, good morning. And hundreds of anti-Semitic responses would immediately fill my social media. Turns out I've seen many times an image of myself in a bikini with the flag of Israel. I never knew that I looked quite fetching in a bikini. And I will say there is virtue. One of the things, look, there are many lessons one can learn from President Trump, but one of the lessons is just to not give a damn. There is a power to fearlessness. There is a power to speaking the truth and letting the idiots say what they will.
You're so right. Cut 12, go.
To show you just how anti-Semitism leads to anti-Americanism, what is Tucker saying this week? He's saying Donald Trump has called for unconditional surrender in Iran. When you surrender unconditionally, what it means is that soldiers can rape your wives and your daughters. And so if Iran surrenders to America, American soldiers will rape the women in Iran. That is a grotesque lie. And by the way, American soldiers have not done that in any war we have fought. And yet Tucker is willing to impugn the entire American military. And then he also says the other way to do it is we can drop nuclear weapons on Iran. And he says, I believe we're getting ready to nuke Iran. That gives you the sense. By the way, right now, the Iranian TV is playing Tucker's show across Iran. The Muslim Brotherhood is tweeting out Tucker's show. They have decided he is the most effective spokesperson for their message, which is that America is the great Satan.
Senator Tom Cotton. Another fantastic patriot who has guts. Cut 9, go.
I know many of you are also concerned, though, about a seeming rise of anti-Semitism among influencers on the erstwhile right. Now, I use sarcastic air quotes for a reason. First off, these influencers are perceived to be on the right. And maybe they once were, maybe they once wrote for center-right magazines, maybe they once worked for center-right websites or media companies. But I do not agree that I share a political movement or a political party with anyone who traffics in anti-Semitism. And for that matter, doesn't just traffic in anti-Semitism, or at least adjacent to anti-Semitism, shares Liz Warren's economic policies. Or Rashida Tlaib's foreign policy. Because if you notice, these so-called influencers, like anti-Semites usually do, often have a deep antipathy to free market capitalism. Whatever their views once were, they have since adopted, indeed, Liz Warren's economic policies. They also, as I said, share Rashida Tlaib's foreign policy, which could be summed up as Jeane Kirkpatrick once said, blame America first. They always blame America first. If they're not blaming Israel first, it's a close competition.
Cut 10, go.
So the question is, why did people have to make up the word influencer? And I think the answer is the time-tested, old-fashioned, sturdy word, influential, does not apply to them. They are not influential. They are at least not influential with Donald Trump, who continues to reject their kooky advice. They are not influential with Republicans in the Senate, who continue to reject their kooky advice. And if you look at public opinion polls, they are least influential of all with normal voting Republicans all across the country. Indeed, self-identified MAGA Republicans. There's polls out there you can identify. The pollster asks the respondent, are you a Republican? Yes. Do you identify as a MAGA Republican, or let's call it a traditional Republican? Self-identified MAGA Republicans are more supportive in general of the president's foreign policy than self-identified traditional Republicans. Think about that. People who are asked to identify as a MAGA Republican with Donald Trump are more in favor of bombing the hell out of the Ayatollahs than self-identified traditional Republicans. So it's clear that these influencers don't have much influence where it matters.
So important what both of these men are saying. So important what Senator Cotton said right there. And then the next step is what I pointed out earlier in the program. So who's in their audience? It's not most of you. It's Democrats who like what they're doing to Republicans and conservatives and MAGA and Trump. It's Marxists who like what they're doing to Trump and our military. It's Islamists who agree when they trash Jews and Christians and Americanism. It's foreign aliens who are not supportive of our country, who are attracted to those who are attacking our country from within. These are the greatest turncoats, the greatest traitors, the greatest saboteurs, because they camouflage themselves as MAGA. They camouflage themselves as Republican. They camouflage themselves as conservative, as Tea Party, as Trump, as whatever it is. While they're making money off the enemy and supporters of the enemy who can't get enough of them because they're undermining our country in the middle of a war. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Prime one-day delivery is fast. How fast we talking? We're talking yoga mats and fitness trackers delivered so fast you can kick off your routine tomorrow fast. We're talking weights at your door without really waiting fast. Water bottles and hydration backpacks fast and fast. Resistance bands faster than you can say feel the burn fast. More jump ropes just a hop, skip, and a jump away, aka fast. Whew. That was actually a good workout fast. Fast one-day delivery for all things fitness. It's on Prime.
It's truck and SUV season at Winter Auto Sales, a used car leader. Just look at the rows of trucks and the rows of SUVs ready for winter, like a Ford F-150 XLT, yours for just $37,999. How about a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, just $20,999? Or a beautiful Chevy truck C71, yours for $26,999. Rows of trucks and rows of SUVs during truck and SUV season at the veteran-owned Winter Auto Sales, the used car leader in out of Washington Street, or online at wintercautosales.com.
There's no place like home with AmeriQ Credit Union. For more than 75 years, AmeriQ has helped your friends and neighbors step into the homes of their dreams. Let us help you find yours. Apply today at ameriq.org/home. Equal housing lender.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Most people would rather assemble a 300-piece cabinet than search for insurance. That's why the Zebra searches for you, comparing over 100 insurance companies to find savings no one else can. Compare today at thezebra.com.
Prime one-day delivery is fast. How fast we talking? We're talking yoga mats and fitness trackers delivered so fast you can kick off your routine tomorrow fast. We're talking weights at your door without really waiting fast. Water bottles and hydration backpacks fast and fast. Resistance bands faster than you can say feel the burn fast. More jump ropes just a hop, skip, and a jump away, aka fast. Whew. That was actually a good workout fast. Fast one-day delivery for all things fitness. It's on Prime.
This message is brought to you by Wise, the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive in over 40 currencies with no markups or hidden fees. Whether you're sending pesos for presents, helping with bills, or paying for your child's tuition, you'll get the real exchange rate every time. Join 15 million customers. Be smart. Get Wise. Download the Wise app today. Terms and conditions apply.
A Social Security update. 70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits today, and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael Allen says it's true and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report from Newsmax. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits. Whether you're getting benefits or soon will, you need this Social Security report from Newsmax. Get it free. Call 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. We'll text it to you right away, along with President Trump's act cutting your Social Security taxes. Call now, 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. Text and data rates may apply.
But the Mark Levin Show is on the air.
I am ready to start the show.
You know, there's a gentleman out there, Dr. James Lindsay, who I've become fond of, the things he writes, the things he says. I actually think I quoted you in one of my recent books. You know, I go through so much research and so forth, but I remember you. And you say very profound things, and you say them in a very pithy way, which is not easy, but I enjoy reading it. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. So let's just take a broad look at this. You see what's happening online. You see these woke right types. What do you think, and I've seen what you've written and so forth, what do you think is driving this effort to put a wedge between Jews and Christians, this effort to sort of redefine Americanism? What do you see as driving this?
Well, I mean, there's a number of factors. I don't want to make it complicated, but number one is previously the forces that don't agree with President Trump out in the world, whether they're foreign or domestic, sought to undermine President Trump from the outside. They, so much as even trying to put a bullet in his head in Butler, Pennsylvania, and then we saw all the different campaigns, whether it's the Russia campaign, whether it's the impeachments or whatever. They couldn't take him from the outside. So now they're trying to take him from the inside. They have to undermine him from the inside. So I think that this is one thing, is to undermine Trump and his agenda, but it's also to reorganize the Republican Party around a completely different politics, much more radical politics and identity-based politics, to remove us from the American experiment, and where everybody who is an American is an American. If you're a citizen, you're a citizen. Okay, get a job. That's kind of our motto, right? Or the way we think about the world. And no, it's not going to be that. We're going to be a people in a place, which sounds a lot like blood and soil. So we're going to have a new kind of European conservatism, which we can look to Europe and see didn't work. It didn't conserve anything. It doesn't work. And so to reorganize the Republican Party around this new radical right-wing politics that's been excluded for 75 years from the American project. And then thirdly, on the global stage, what's happening around Israel, what's happening in the Middle East is key to so many things that are happening, whether it's the Belt and Road Initiative for China, whether it's Russia's ambitions in the region. There are lots of huge global concerns, whether it's oil prices and oil transport and shipping lanes. There are huge concerns there. And as long as the United States and Israel remain staunch, firm allies, Western interests are represented and protected in that region from some of the worst people on the planet. So they have to interrupt that as well.
What do you think is influencing these so-called influencers, which obviously don't have a lot of influence? Senator Cotton pointed out, others are pointing it out, that when you look at the polls, MAGA is 91% behind the president's handling of this war. Whereas these so-called influencers, these woke right types, they're like 100% against. So what is it that is motivating them or driving them, do you think?
Well, I think that there's kind of a convergence of interests. I think on the one hand, some of them do have a different radical politics that they would love to see the right wing of America adopt. And so they're ideological in that way. Tucker Carlson, for example, is at least partly this. He's famously a paleo conservative. He's taken up strongly with Pat Buchanan, as many of the others have, which is a different vision than President Trump offered for the Republican Party when he came in 2016. So there's an ideological component. There's undoubtedly a component that has to do with, likely it has to do with money, that people are being paid, or that they're just chasing clicks. They're chasing opportunity online. For whatever reason, these things are amplified and boosted, often by foreign actors, but also by bot farms and networks, and they're all making money hand over fist. So there are these very prosaic explanations as well. But ultimately, what I think it is that goal to reorganize both the Republican Party and our relationship with Israel and the world, so that the larger global interests that we are able to defend as we are right now fall out of our hands in our ability to defend them.
Is there sort of this Russian psyop activity taking place? People have been writing about this. You've talked about it somewhat too. Is this part of the plan to destroy the West and the United States in particular?
I feel like the answer to that is kind of obviously yes. The Russians are very famous in their approach with the so-called red team, blue team, or A team, B team, where they take any movement and split it into two factions that they can get fighting with each other. This is kind of their bread and butter kind of political warfare operations that they are the best in the world at and have been since the early days of the Soviet Union. They're very good at divide and conquer in that way. But on the other hand, we now see, finally, I've been shaking, the tree for a while. Glenn Beck was bringing it up 10 years ago, this weird character of Alexander Dugin and his multipolarity theory. That's the big story. Multipolarity means that the United States is no longer the global power. We are no longer going to use our Navy and our military to control world affairs. We're going to have, a Russian pole and a Chinese pole and an Islamic pole and a U.S. Western pole that are all roughly co-equal and competing in the world. But this is just that old Soviet strategy of breaking up Western power so that maybe communist, maybe Islamist interests can rise. I think in this case, you would see a huge rise in Islamism and you would see a huge rise in Chinese communism. But what the details are is tough to say. But the goal is to undermine American and Western strength in the world so that the other players can rise to be like equals.
And does this partly explain anyway this obsession in attacking Judaism and trying to divide the Judeo-Christian value system, saying they're separate and one replace the other? Is that part of that ideology?
Yeah, I think it is part of the ideology. It is also a very useful tool, and I think that's the most important part. If they can divide Americans, especially American conservatives, over whether or not they support Israel or whether or not they support Jews, which is a much more alarming thing to see on the rise right now, this rank anti-Semitism. If they can split Americans that way and split American conservatives, if they can convince young Protestants to abandon those theological convictions that they have, then they can really reshape politics in America going forward. And the objective, I think, is in fact to do exactly that. So Israel becomes not just a object that they are attacking, but rather the object that they are attacking with. It's like I've said to people before, that if you really want to make a man mad, what you do is you insult his wife. And people say, well, you attacked his wife, but no, really what you did is you attacked the man through his wife. And so if they can attack Israel, they're really attacking the United States by getting us to fight with ourselves and fight over this. They know that Protestants, evangelicals in particular, and Jews in America will not abandon Israel. They know that they will not abandon these convictions. They might turn some young people, but they can split the American conservative vision by getting us to fight about this. So it's more of a means to an end than an end in itself.
We're talking to Dr. James Lindsay, who's founded the New Discourses organization and platform. I'd like to hold on to, if you don't mind, through the break and continue with this because I think it's incredibly important. We'll be right back. Let me paint you a picture. It's midnight, sirens are blaring. You have only seconds to grab your child and run. Now imagine you're elderly, your legs don't work like they used to. And after all that, you end up in a bomb shelter for hours, even days, because you can't make that trek again. This is what's happening across Israel as Operation Epic Fury continues. And still, the world attacks Israel while its people on the ground are trying to survive. That's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is there on the ground, bringing food, emergency equipment, care for children, and help for the elderly, and supplying bomb shelters and medical centers with critically needed essentials. Please give $45 tax deductible right now to rush life-saving essentials to the vulnerable who are under fire as I speak. To rush your gift to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, call 844-866-IFCJ. That's 844-866-IFCJ, or online at levinforthefellowship.org. That's LEVIN for thefellowship.org.
Making sense of your world.
I can't believe this.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I am so with you.
Making sense of the news. WMAL, making sense of the vote, because elections have consequences. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free. making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company, weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here, getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
And here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Hey, it's Larry. Selecting the right real estate agent is crucial. In fact, choosing the wrong agent could cost you thousands. Just ask Grant, who said, Debbie and Sarah Reynolds are the best I've ever worked with. They came in with a clear strategy, professional staging advice, and top-notch marketing that made my home stand out immediately. Within days, we had multiple offers, all over asking price. Selling a home can be stressful, but Debbie and Sarah made it feel effortless. See, this is common when you call the Reynolds and Power Home team with Keller Williams. They sell a home every 5 hours and net their sellers over $30,000 more on average. That's because of their exclusive database of over 16,300 pre-screened buyers that are ready to buy a home today. They're so confident in their abilities that if your home doesn't sell, Debbie and Sarah will buy it at a price agreeable to you. That's their guarantee. Take it from me. Call now at 844-344-SOLD. That's 844-344-SOLD or DebbieHasTheBuyers.com. That's DebbieHasTheBuyers.com.
Being a fiduciary financial advisor, I've learned why most people feel that they get no growth out of their investments, even when they have a professional do it for them. And no, it's not the markets, it's not the risk, and it's not necessarily your fault. I am Jeremiah Bates, and I am a Real Money Pro. My team and I know how to turn the table so your money goes to your pocket, not someone else's. Reach out today to the Real Money Pros by visiting therealmoneypros.com. Let's elevate your financial future today. Apollon Wealth Management has transformed the way our team delivers financial advice. With their support, we're more equipped and more empowered than ever to provide top-tier financial planning, investment management, and personalized financial guidance. Apollon has been a key partner in helping us achieve our clients' unique financial goals. Whether you're an advisor looking to enhance your client experience or an investor ready to take your wealth management to the next level, reach out today to the Real Money Pros by visiting therealmoneypros.com. Let's elevate your financial future today.
Dribbles it down the court. Just a few seconds left. Pass to the corner. 2 to shoot. It's up. And it's good.
This season, head over to Giant to get game day ready with all your favorite foods and snacks, and let Upside dish the assist with a $10 cashback bonus on your first grocery purchase. Upside is a free app that helps you earn cash back on everyday purchases like gas, groceries, and dining. Simply claim an offer in the app, pay like usual, and start earning real cash back. You can cash out to your bank or turn into gift cards. Right now, get a $10 bonus on your first grocery purchase at Giant. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DC3 for a $10 cashback bonus. That's promo code DC3 for a $10 bonus on your first grocery purchase. Remember, that's promo code DC3.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Washington, get ready for a new voice on WMAL. Pastor Alan Jackson, a brand new show you won't want to miss. Join Pastor Alan Jackson every Saturday evening from 5 to 6 as he takes you through the news of the week with a strong biblical perspective. If you're looking for clarity, truth, and hope in today's world, this is the show for you. Tune in to Pastor Alan Jackson, Saturdays at 5 right here on WMAL, iHeartRadio, and tune in. Download the podcast at AlanJacksonMinistries.com.
Of thunder on the right. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
We're here with Dr. James Lindsay of New Discourses, and his podcast is the New Discourses Podcast. Dr. James Lindsay, so we were talking about sort of this Russian influence campaign involving the effort to divide really people and our institutions against each other and against ourselves, so it collapses within. These woke right podcasters, particularly those who draw so much attention, it's my understanding that Bannon met with this guy Dugan at one point and so forth and so on. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, a little bit. Steve Bannon met with Alexander Dugan in the fall, October or November, I think, of 2018, and they kind of kept it hush-hush. How much he worked with Dugin from there, I don't know, but Dugin actually draws off of a philosophy for his own crazy beliefs, which he calls the fourth political theory. But he draws off of a guy it's called a traditionalist named René Guénon, a French philosopher. And Steve Bannon also draws off of René Guénon. So they're running in similar currents. They have similar thought patterns. They both have this, it's a very weird mystical way of thinking about traditions, but the idea is that if you dig deeply enough into any one tradition, you kind of come out at the bottom and they're all the same. So everything is unified and everything is whole. It's a very weird spiritual tradition, but Bannon and Dugin run in similar ways this way, not just politically, but on deep metaphysical levels.
Now, what does that mean, deep metaphysical levels?
Well, they see the world in a different way than the way the rest of us do, that there's this objective to transform the world to its kind of ideal state. And this is why,
Can I interrupt you 1 second? It almost sounds Marxist.
Well, it's not dissimilar to Marxism. It's almost a Marxist vision kind of turned upside down. The idea with the Marxist vision is, in fact, that, you're going to transform everybody to remember who they are. We're all going to remember that we're socialists at heart, and if we re-educate everybody. But in this other tradition, the idea is more the other way around. It's that we can realize ourselves and band together almost more in a fascist organizational structure so that we can march forward to the humanity that we're supposed to become in the future.
That really is weird. But
it's super weird.
They're both authoritarian, right? So the fascism and the Marxism aspect of it. Does this explain, for instance, Tucker Carlson turning World War II inside out? The good guys are the bad guys and the bad guys are the good guys?
Yeah, in part. I mean, they have to destabilize. And I want to just emphasize that the target here is primarily the young people. But this is just like what the left did with its 1619 project. You have to get the youth in particular to doubt the goodness of their own country in its founding and its kind of most triumphant moments. And so what you do is you dig back into history and you reverse the polarity on whether or not who the good guys were and who the bad guys were, what was good and what was bad. You turn it all kind of upside down and inside out. And in that state of doubt, when people are no longer certain of the things they think they believe, you get to become their leader. They become dependent on you for the next piece of knowledge, for the next step, for the next direction to take.
And it's particularly problematic on the so-called right, isn't it? Because they wrap themselves in patriotism, they've been wrapping themselves in MAGA and supporting Trump, but then they show ankle because Trump is a problem for them, conservatism is a problem for them, faith is a problem for them, correct?
That's right. I mean, they're very explicit if you spend time actually reading them to hear them say that they do not consider themselves conservative. They consider themselves right-wing. And they make that distinction very clearly. They believe that conservatism is something weak and that right-wing is something that can be strong. And they kind of tap into that. And they are very much against Trump. They've now turned on Trump. Tucker Carlson just said that MAGA is actually over. So they're not in the same current as the movement that they've been attached to. They've been inside the MAGA movement. They speak the MAGA language. They wave the flag. They carry the Bible. They do all of the things that make them look like American patriots. But what they're actually doing is the same kind of critical theory of America that we're used to from the left, that undercut our belief in our own country. You could actually summarize things like what Tucker Carlson does, his podcast. The message again and again, every week it seems, every day it seems, is you don't hate your country enough.
Mm-hmm. And yet there are people kind of sprinkled throughout the administration, in significant positions in the administration that appear to share this viewpoint, no?
Yeah, well, Rod Dreher, who, is at least kind of on the edge of this pond himself, said that he came over and studied and ran around in D.C. for a week or two. And his estimate was 30 to 40% of the people that are in positions of any kind of authority in D.C. are at least sympathetic to this. So very many people. But this is another parallel to communism, Mark. This is the technique that the communists called entryism, which is how do you get your guys in, entry, how do you get your guys in and the good guys out? And so what they're doing is they've stepped into positions of authority, and then they hire their friends and they create ugly scandals and situations for the people they don't like and start to squeeze them out. They're trying to squeeze out Paula White from the faith office right now very vigorously. You can see that very clearly. They're going after Lindsey Graham with some kind of a united struggle session attempt. They're trying to get their guys in and everybody, all the real patriots out.
It's incredible. And so the American people listening tonight, what is your advice to them? I mean, they really have to be discerning about this, right?
That's the sad part of the advice, is it's the hardest thing in the world, which is to be discerning. It's to understand that just because somebody made a point that you agree with, that it doesn't mean that they're taking it in the right direction. It doesn't mean that they're doing the right thing with it. So you have to slow down. You can't just run on the fumes of, Tucker Carlson was the guy I watched on the news for years and years. You have to listen to what he's actually saying now. He might not be leading you in the right direction anymore. He may have changed. He may have taken advantage of your trust. But also, I want to tell American people listening is that you've got to protect your kids. If you, by the grace of God, avoided your children going in the direction of trans, they are trying to get your children in the direction of fascism and Nazism. And I hear from parents every day almost about how they're falling and losing their kids to this. So protect your kids, get them on the right path, teach them well.
Amen to that. Tell us about your group and what New Discourses is all about, your podcast.
Thank you. I started New Discourses officially in 2020. My goal was to study and expose the woke left as fast as I could. I wrote a library of critical race theory for the public before George Floyd even died that was ready to go when people were ready to have it. I tackled the queer theory and the drag queens and so on. So I tried to tackle this woke left, tie it to communism, explain what the woke left phenomenon was. And I've run a podcast there called the New Discourses podcast, where I've been trying to teach the world as fast as I can learn about woke ideologies. And that includes now communism and fascism. I've spent the last year doing something I call the Nazi Experiment podcast, where I'm going through piece by piece by piece, whether from Mein Kampf or from Carl Schmitt or some other Nazi writers, and telling people, what did the Nazis actually believe? We know how their experiment ended. They had problems in Germany after World War I. They did an experiment to fix it. It ended in a catastrophic war and a Holocaust, the worst thing maybe that's ever happened. We know the experiment didn't work, but what was in it? And the reason I'm doing that is because I've been seeing, whether it's on X, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram, I've been seeing literally the pages of Mein Kampf with no attribution fed to our kids like they're new ideas. So I want people to see what Hitler really said, what his acolytes really taught, what they really believed, what those contents were, so that they don't mistake the arguments of today for new and fresh and good. They're actually recycled evil from 80 years ago, 100 years ago, that caused one of the greatest calamities in human history.
Well, you're a very important thinker and a very important voice. And I'm going to bring you on more often if you don't mind. It's a very significant size project that you have, and I much appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. That's very nice.
Dr. James Lindsay, ladies and gentlemen, he's a good man. New Discourses. That's his motivation, and you can see what he's trying to do, which is very, very important to expose what's taking place in our country. And he's giving you a better understanding of what we're dealing with in Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. Bannon is always hanging around with the sleaziest of sleazy. He just is. That's what he is. Candace Owens, they're your enemy. They're trying to destroy what you love, what you believe in. They're trying to disunite America. They have a big plan. And the plan is about power. I wrote this book on power. Everything's about power. And that's what they're all about. They want to destroy the Republican Party, even if that means building up the Democrat Party, at least temporarily. That's what Fuentes said, a voting Democrat, destroy the Republican Party. Carlson said, MAGA's over. MAGA's destroyed from within. Trump's not MAGA. Follow me. Owens and her rabid anti-Semitism. They're all, notice, anti-Semites, anti-Israel. As James is pointing out there, that's part of the plot. If you can destroy the relationship between Jews and Christians, if you can destroy the relationship between two of the greatest democracies, Israel and the United States, you can move toward this fascism, this authoritarianism. I mean, this is a big deal, and it's going on right under your noses. And we're going to keep talking about this as long as I have a breath and as long as I have these platforms, because it's a big deal. It's very, very important. Very important. I'll be right back.
Mark Lopin.
Ready? Go. Okay, doctor. Operation. No, the most amazing care.
They changed my life.
Kindness Hospital for Children.
Good people just like you. Kids like me can play in the game of life. Thank you. Go to lovetrends.org right away. Thank you.
Prime one-day delivery is fast. How fast are we talking? We're talking yoga mats and fitness trackers delivered so fast you can kick off your routine tomorrow fast. We're talking weights at your door without really waiting fast. Water bottles and hydration pack fast and fast. Resistance bands faster than you can say feel the burn fast. More jump ropes just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Making it fast.
Anybody watching, I'll see you on the flip side. I'm leaving. I'll be back, though. See you on the flip side.
For international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive in over 40 currencies with no markups or hidden fees.